Hey everybody, I hope you guys are having a great day. In today's video, I am talking about 15 reasons you should not move to Bend, Oregon. The purpose of this video is really to show the negative side of living in Bend versus the side you guys probably always see if you're thinking about moving here. If you've been doing any research, if you've been on blogs and websites and watching other YouTube videos, you're probably seeing a lot of really positive things. I know on my personal channel right here, I talk a ton of good, positive things about Bend. I've actually had a few of you guys email me and you were saying, hey, I was watching your guys' videos, love them, they're super informative, but it doesn't seem like there's any cons. Can you go and expand more on stuff that you don't necessarily love about Bend? So that's the purpose of this video today. And if this is your first time to this channel, my name is Brett Williams. I'm a realtor here in Central Oregon. I run this YouTube channel helping people move and relocate all over the country, looking to buy primary residences here, vacation properties, investments, everything you can imagine. So if you have any thoughts about moving or relocating to this area, give me a call, shoot me a text, give me an email, does not matter. I work days, nights, weekends, pretty much 24/7, 365. So don't hesitate to reach out. And I really hope you guys get a lot of value out of this video. We're gonna go through a list, pretty big actually. We got 15 different things that I've compiled through friends and family. So let's get into number one. All right, number one, this is the one you're gonna be expecting. I'm not starting off with anything surprising. That's gonna be winter. Winter, like I've said before, is the number one reason people end up moving out of Bend, and it's probably the number one reason that keeps people away from actually moving here. Me personally, I love the winter for recreational purposes. I love snowmobiling, I love skiing, snowboarding, snowshoeing, all the really fun stuff to do. But it's cold. Next week, I was looking at the weather. They were saying that we could get into the 7-8 degree mark, which is the coldest it's been probably since I've moved here in the last 4 years. So there are chances that we get some pretty cool cold winter blasts. It's cold here in Bend. Expect some snow, expect some driving in ice. It's definitely not like Arizona where it's just one season, it's just summer all year long. So definitely the number one thing to consider before moving here. I've had a lot of friends and family move out of Bend because it's just simply too cold for them. Number two, this is one that I think is pretty fun to talk about. Something that you're gonna hear a lot on the Facebook groups if you talk to people that live here already. That's gonna be the internet. So currently we have two major internet providers in Bend, and they're both awful. So we have CenturyLink over here, and we have Bend.Bend, and both are absolutely horrendous. They're pretty expensive for the speed you end up getting. I currently pay for a package that should have speeds around 100 megabytes per second, but in reality, I get max around 30, and that's if it's a really good day. I only have like one device out and I'm working from home on like one laptop. If there are a few people in the house, Wi-Fi basically crashes and I can't do anything. I can't upload documents. It's pretty annoying. I live on the southeast side of town, so I chose to use CenturyLink. Supposedly they have better reach out here, but I've lived on the west side. I use Bend.Bend, they're awful as well, so that's kind of annoying. But luckily, actually in the last month, Starlink, which is Elon Musk's new satellite Wi-Fi provider and internet, they've come into Bend, and you can actually get, I think a pretty good deal. It's like $500 for the hardware and the dish. You attach it to your roof, and for $100 a month, you get really fast internet. I've been hearing from friends that they're getting like 200 megabytes per second, which is pretty much overkill for anything you could do working from home. So that's a big plus, and hopefully that kind of gets better and better as the technology improves with Starlink. So that's kind of a positive actually. But it's funny, if you're working from home, or you have to be, if you're a remote worker and you don't want to be in coffee shops all the time, having fast internet is going to be important for you guys. So if you consistently need good streaming internet or uploading internet, definitely consider that before moving here. And there's actually pretty good maps. I'll link them down below, and you can kind of check where there's better internet, and that might just be a good resource for you guys. All right, so number three, property taxes. If you plan on purchasing a home, and that's what I help people do here, is purchase, buy and sell, property taxes are expensive, I'm here to tell you. You can find different pockets on certain sides of town that are cheaper than others. For example, Northwest Crossing is gonna be extremely expensive, so will Tetherow. So the northwest side of Bend, Summit West, you're gonna have River West, Old Bend, those areas have pretty high property taxes. And I know people moving from all over the country and they're saying, I've lived in 4 or 5 states and I've never had property taxes this high. That's kind of what comes with living in Oregon, especially Bend. Currently, we have no sales tax in Oregon, which is nice, and that kind of offsets the difference. So pretty much everywhere you go, you'll have no tax on the products you buy. So that does save money and it kind of offsets it, but if you were trying to look for somewhere that has really low property taxes, Bend probably won't be the best spot for you. So number 4, this is another one of those kind of fun ones, but it's worth mentioning. We have a lot of wildlife in Central Oregon. We're a high desert and we actually have a lot of different microclimates and a lot of resources for a lot of different animals. Because we have mountains, rivers, trail systems all over the place, and we have all 4 seasons, that is pretty much the perfect breeding ground for all sorts of different animals. In Bend, you don't have to worry about any of the big predators out there. We will have some small fox and coyote in some of the neighborhoods. You'll probably see a few rabbits here and there and chipmunks and those smaller animals. But if you don't like wildlife at all and you want to be in the city where there's nothing, Bend probably won't be the best place. Obviously, you're probably big into the outdoors if you're thinking about moving here. And one thing to expect is we do have cougars and we do have black bears in Central Oregon. Just north of here, past Sisters in the Metolius area, there are a lot of black bears. So if you like hiking, don't expect that there's not gonna be any animals out here. There definitely are animals. I've been all over the area in Central Oregon. I've never seen a black bear or a cougar, but they definitely are out there. So if you cannot live with animals, Bend won't be the spot for you. All right, number 5. So this is one that I think is definitely important to think about, and that's gonna be Bend's size. So if you're moving from somewhere on the I-5 corridor and you love living in the big city, you love having lots to do 24/7, and you like trying new restaurants and bars and pubs and all that fun stuff, Bend has that. We have a lot of amazing things to do, and that's why Bend is moved to so often, but it's just on a much smaller scale. So with a population just over 100,000, we're obviously not gonna be as crazy as maybe Portland or Seattle in terms of having all the urban city life stuff to do, but we still have some really good options. Just expect it though, that the speed of living is a lot slower here in Bend, but that's kind of what attracts everyone to here, whether that's for a primary house, a vacation property, whatever it is. Definitely one of the number 1 things that to think about. Number 6, this is something that a lot of you probably are gonna be like, oh, this is the reason I wanna move to Bend. But nature and the outdoors. If you don't like them, do not move to Bend. We are in the mountains. We are basically underneath the Cascade Mountain Range. And we're right next to Mount Bachelor. The Chutes River runs directly through town. If you don't like being outside or being around people that like being outside and doing those things, Bend's gonna be awful. It's gonna be like your worst nightmare. We've got so much to do outdoors and just being able to escape your house, which was really nice for me during quarantine, and everyone in Bend, you were able to spread out and get outdoors. That sounds awful to you and you like the city living and you don't like really having direct access to the outdoors, which I feel like is very small, but there are people like that. Don't move to Bend because that's kind of the whole emphasis and kind of community that brings Bend together is definitely the outdoors. And that doesn't mean that Bend doesn't have city culture and all that, it does, but definitely the number 1 reason people move here is for that kind of outdoor and being in the mountains. All right, so number 7, let's talk about diversity. This is something that I think I kind of have to talk about, just to be straightforward and honest. We're still a small town. Traditionally, we were a logging town in the middle of Central Oregon, near no one. So we've grown a lot, we've become a lot more diverse, but we are primarily pretty white, and that's just gonna say, that's pretty blunt, but for the most part, you're gonna have a lot of white people, and there's not a ton of cultural diversity here, but it's definitely not the most diverse city in the country. Portland will have a little more diversity. Bend has it, and it's getting a ton better, even from like 5 years ago, but it's just not on that same level. So if you're someone that likes to be super diverse and be around all types of different people, Bend has it, just not on a massive level. All right, so number 8, we're gonna talk about job opportunities. And I've talked about this on other videos because I think it's super important to think about. If you're someone that is looking to really progress in your career and you're trying to land 6-figure, high-paying jobs, whether that's in any industry, Bend might not be the perfect spot for you. We're growing rapidly. We have a lot more options starting to come in. I expect in the next 10 years, we're gonna be a really big player in terms of new companies, new tech, whatever industry actually. We have a few pretty big employers that pay really well. We've got some more tech companies coming in. But right now there's a big culture of people that are looking to either slow down, maybe semi-retire, retire, or they're freelancers or they can work remotely. So like anywhere right now it's being relocated to, there's a lot of remote workers that are realizing, hey, I can escape the big city and live in somewhere that is really cool and somewhere I want to. So Bend has become really high up on people's lists for that reason. But once again, if you're looking for that really high paying job, Bend doesn't have that yet, but definitely stay patient, keep it on your list because we're gonna get there eventually. So that's something just to take note of. All right, so number 9, we're getting down to some more fun stuff. Let's talk about wine and beer. So if you're someone that doesn't like drinking alcohol or you just don't like being around it at all, probably don't wanna move to Bend. We have a pretty influential beer community here. We have over 30 breweries that are independent, have their own distribution centers, and they actually produce their own beer and all of that. So if you're someone that is wanting to escape that or you don't like that community, probably don't move here. I'll keep it pretty simple. There's a lot of drinking that goes on. There's a lot of fun that is had at the breweries and all the different venues and events around Bend. So we're really big into beer and wine here. So if you just can't stand that, probably not the best spot for you, but I don't think that'll be too many of you guys. All right, so number 10, let's talk about geographical location. I've mentioned it already like 10 times in this video right now, but we're in smack down in the center of Oregon, in Central Oregon. We are 2.5 hours to the closest big city, which is Eugene, and then we're probably 3.5 hours south of Portland. So if you want to live somewhere that is close to a big city or you want to have access to a big metro area, Bend's not directly right there. So we're separated pretty far from most of the bigger cities in Oregon, and we're a good drive to anywhere in California that's pretty big and any of the other surrounding states. So if you want to be able to have quick access to Portland, there is Redmond Airport, which is really nice. But if you need to be driving there, just expect it could be some 7-hour days or 3.5-hour days, depending on how tight your schedule is. So definitely something to keep in mind. We're not super close to any of the bigger cities around us. All right, number 11 goes out to all the drivers out there. This is something that I think is really funny for people that are looking to travel into Bend. They're coming here to vacation, or I'm doing tours with people that are looking for houses or whatever. Something I always hear about and something that gets noticed is the roundabout situation in Bend. So somehow, some way, Bend is basically diverted from having stop signs and traffic lights to only having roundabouts. And I do say that figuratively, we do have those things, but we have an insane amount of roundabouts. If you hate driving in roundabouts or you don't like small town driving, Bend might not be the spot for you. That's something to think about. It's pretty annoying. Sometimes there's a little bit of traffic here and there due to congestion on all 4 ways that are coming together. But I just think that's kind of funny. Everyone that comes here or visits always talks about, wow, you guys have a ton of roundabouts. So I thought I would just include it in the video. And that leads me into number 12, which is traffic. All the locals here love to say that there's a ton of traffic now in Bend, that you're gonna be, get used to sitting in traffic for 15, 20 minutes. But honestly, most people that are moving here right now, whether they're locals, myself included, whether we like it or not, people are moving from the bigger areas, Seattle, LA, San Francisco, Portland, all over the country. And they're used to probably much worse traffic than what we have. We've got about 2 spots that suffer pretty badly, which is Reed Market and sometimes 3rd, and maybe the small stretch going to Redmond from Bend or Redmond to Bend. Those 3 areas are where you're gonna find the most traffic. But really, the most I think I've ever got stuck was because of like a traffic jam on a snow day. It took me 30 minutes to get basically 2 miles into Redmond when I was already on US 97, which is just the direct shot. So really, there's not much traffic here, but it's not small enough or spread out enough to where there's no traffic. So you will have a little bit getting from here and there. So just something to keep in mind. All right, so number 13, if you are a huge foodie and you love trying tons of different restaurants from tons of different chefs and small businesses and local craft venues and all of these pop-ups and stuff. Bend has a lot of that, but we do have some limited food options for sure. Once you live here for a few years, you've probably tried every notable spot in Bend. And I'm gonna produce a blog on this on my website down below. You can actually read all my other blogs, but I'm gonna make a list of like my top 30 favorite restaurants in Bend. And if you guys are thinking about visiting, you can check them out. Not all of them are like the mainstream few that you'll always hear about, but back to the point, we don't have a ton of options here yet. We're obviously still small, so if you're someone that really, a big part of your lifestyle is having a lot of food options and that whole thing, it may not be the ideal spot for you, but we'll get there eventually, I think. All right, so number 14. This one is a little bit relative to where you're coming from, but if you are somewhere that is a bigger city, Portland, LA, Seattle, anywhere on the I-5 corridor, cost of living is gonna be very different from someone that's looking to move from somewhere that's smaller or maybe the Midwest or somewhere south. It probably will be a little bit more expensive here. So the number 14 is the cost of living, and this is something that I hear about from different people. But if you're someone that is maybe coming from a super expensive city along the West Coast or maybe the East Coast, you're gonna save a lot of money when you move here. Housing's a lot better, food's cheaper, you're gonna have better prices on utilities and just maintenance and different bills like that. A lot of that you're gonna be saving money on, but I actually have a full video on cost of living and I'm making a new one right now for 2021, so stay tuned so you can hear kind of more of the actual facts and numbers behind living in Bend. And number 15, I know this is a long video, let's talk about the people. So I'm gonna be pretty straight up and honest. If you have a family or you have young kids and you're active, there's definitely gonna be some parts of town where I'm gonna say you may not love as much as other parts. There are some different communities in Bend that aren't super accepting towards younger families or noise or having kids in their area. I've experienced this firsthand and I've seen a lot of different interesting things with some of the people here. Bend has a lot of personality types, which is good because you are exposed to a lot of different types of people, but with that comes definitely some Grinches out there. So hit me up if you have any questions on areas where I would suggest maybe, hey, this might not be the best area. Obviously, that's up to you guys. I always try and take you guys to different areas and show you different things, but definitely something to consider. People here overall are great, but there definitely are a few areas where I try and not necessarily tell you not to live there, but definitely something to think about. And that wraps up this video. Thank you guys for watching. Once again, if you guys are thinking about moving or relocating to this area, my name is Brett Williams. I help people move and I help them relocate. So you leave me a text, you can call me, you can email me, it doesn't matter. Like I was saying, I pretty much work 24/7, 365. I do really appreciate you guys watching this video all the way through. If you enjoy this type of content and you want to know more about Bend, feel free to hit the like and subscribe button. I'm producing a ton of more content right now, all about living in Central Oregon. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until the next one, I'll catch you then.